Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's December 19, 2022. The time is now 7:04 p.m. Before we have our regularly scheduled council meeting, we do have a public hearing that I would like to conduct this evening with council. So this public hearing is going to be on Ordinance 1092, which will be concerning amending the city code for chapter with the ethics. And before I call on anyone who's here to speak on Ordinance 1092, I would like Madam Secretary, if you could please read the header into the record.
Yes. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Havre Grace, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Title 5 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre Grace City Charter for the purpose of amending City Code Chapter 67, Ethics.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Okay, public hearing on Ordinance 1092 concerning amending City Code Chapter 67 regarding ethics. Is anyone here in the audience this evening to speak on Ordinance 1092? Okay. Come forward. Yes. Welcome. May we please have your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everybody. Kirk Smith, 840 Otsego, Havre Grace, Maryland, 21078. Every year I kind of, because we're all friends here, every year I try to gift you guys something from the garden or something we foraged around town or on city property, right? From the food forest, berries or jam. I just want to make sure that that's not a violation. You guys aren't going to get in trouble for that, right?
No.
Good. So we will continue.
You're talking about the
we will
delicious jams
continue
and,
with this fine tradition then.
No,
That's all. I just didn't
we're
want
good. As long as it doesn't exceed a value of $14 million, we're okay. And so, no,
Well, it's priceless to me because it's a labor of love, but
no, it's Havre Grace grown. It's always a treat when you give us something from your garden, Kurt. We appreciate that, and we don't see it as an ethics violation.
no more ghost peppers for you though, sir.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Anyone else wish to speak on public hearing for 1092? Any questions or comments from the council? Without further comments from the public or the council, I now close the public hearing on Ordinance 1092. The time is now 7:06. Okay. Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The date is December 19, 2022. The time is now 7:07 p.m. I call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. I will call the roll. Council President Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Shanegas.
Here.
All council members are present and accounted for. Could everybody please join me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance and our opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing, as it's a great privilege for me to introduce everyone to Rabbi Mika Simmerly of Temple Adash Shalom. Rabbi, thank you so much for being here this evening and giving us the invocation.
Good evening. My husband Dave and I are incredibly honored to be with you this evening, representing our Jewish community of Temple Adash Shalom right here in Havre Grace. I would like to share the following non-denominational and all-encompassing prayer to start off this meeting in good spirits and sincerity. Holy One, our God, known by many names and beyond all names, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, spirit of justice. We ask your blessings for the people who have been called to lead the community of Havre de Grace in Harford County, in which we live, work, and play. We ask you, O God, that you help our leaders keep in mind that it is their responsibility as well as ours, the citizens, to serve the common good of all. Please remind us, no matter where we live, everyone, gay or straight, black or white, Hispanic or Asian, men or woman, religious or atheist, we are all neighbors, a human family. And throughout the ages, we've been called to respect and protect our children, the elderly, the poor, our veterans, those who are hungry, the homeless, those who are ill in body, mind, or spirit, the strangers and immigrants in our midst, all those who live on the margins, and all those who are alone, and all those who are forgotten. God, during this joyous holiday season, we ask that you grant our leaders and us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right, good, true, and just. May our leaders and we speak out when it is time to speak out, and listen patiently and respectfully when it is time to simply listen. May our leaders and citizens always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold dear, sacred, and holy, all that we hold good and right and true. May you, God, make it so, as we all say together as one community. Amen.
Amen.
Rabbi, thank you for your thoughtful, meaningful words. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. All right, hold on. Okay, before we go to item number 5, the council president has an agenda amendment.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I need to make an amendment to the agenda. Under item 19, we have the closed session subjects of personnel matter, and then B would be consider the acquisition of real property. We do have to add a third item, which is discussion of a pending legal litigation, and updates from the city attorney. So do I need a motion for that?
No.
Okay. And that is provided under the Maryland Code. The Act provides public bodies some leeway to add items to an agenda after the agenda has been made available to the public under subsection 3-302.1E. So.
All right. We're going to amend the agenda. We're going to add item C under 19.
Yep.
Pending litigation from city attorney update. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Council President. Okay, we're going to go to item number 5, approval of minutes, city council meeting minutes of December 5th, 2022. Council, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
A motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Approval of the city council meeting minutes of December 5th, 2022 are approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Item B, city council closed session meeting minutes, December 5th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, second by Councilmember Robertson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. We have a discussion. The approval of the minutes?
There's no discussion. These are closed session minutes.
We have to amend it. The public, there was a part omitted from the public session minutes,
Ms. Ishat,
the public minutes.
we're voting on closed session minutes, and Council President wants to discuss. What's the proper,
The public version.
is the public version of it? All right, so what do you want to do?
I just have to, under the last section, it was omitted that the motion carried 6-0 for the second portion that we voted on. That is not in the public version, and it needs to be.
All right, go ahead, Nick.
All right, I make a motion that at the very bottom, about an inch and a half up, where it says actions taken, the very end, it just needs to read, motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Council, I have a motion by Council President, second by Councilman Robertson to amend the public version of the closed session minutes. Question or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay. A public copy of the closed session minutes are approved. We're back under the question for the City Council closed session meeting minutes of December 5th, 2022. Motion by Councilmember Zinner, second by Councilmember Robertson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Closed City Council closed session meeting minutes are carried, or approved 6-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to item number 6. Item number 6 is comments from citizens on agenda items and regular city business. So again, if you wish to speak on an agenda item, now's a good time to identify yourself and say so. Or if you're here this evening because you wish to speak on any other matter of city business, you can also do so as well. So just want to let everybody know that if you're here to speak, this is the time to do it. So right now, I have no, my knowledge, I have no pre-filled out speaking forms. So I will open the floor to any citizen who wishes to speak. Okay, any comments from council? And we will move on. All right, item number 7 is appointments. And we have an appointment this evening to the Planning Commission. And to introduce this appointment, I'm going to refer to the council liaison to the Planning Commission. That's going to be Councilmember Shenegas.
I make a motion to appoint Charles Place, also known as Chip, to the Planning Commission.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenegas, seconded by Councilmember Robertson for the appointment of Mr. Charles Place to the Planning Commission. Questions or comments? Councilmember Shenegas?
Chip comes to us in June of 2022. He moved here, is a resident in Bully Rock, and he is a retired architect attorney. He comes with the ability to help us develop our comprehensive plan, and he's interested in helping with safety, pedestrian, and bicycle accessibility and connectivity. He would be a welcomed addition to our Planning Commission.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenegas. Councilmember Boyer?
I just want to add on to what Councilwoman Shenegas said. Mr. Place also comes to us with a great deal of background in sustainable community planning, and that's things I think that we could definitely leverage as we're moving forward with everything happening within Havre. So I think he's a fabulous addition. And another example of how Havre has an incredible network of people who already live in our community who are subject matter experts, and we just need to find better ways to get to them and pull them and get them involved. So thank you very much for doing so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Thank you, Councilmember Shenegas. Any further questions or comments? Councilmember Zinner?
Just a comment, your resume is very impressive. If I may call you Chip, I don't know. It's a little informal, but, you know, your special interests and your JD and your BA in architecture. So you only moved here this June?
Yes.
May I ask you what brought you to Havre?
To be closer to family, my wife Mary here, and I are both from the Northeast. Mary's from New Jersey, and in retirement we wanted to be looked all around southern tier. And Mary's sister is married a Frenchman. They stopped by here one day, just out of curiosity, given the French name. Hey, you should look at that town, Havre. And we did. It became our first choice, and we were very, very happy, very fortunate to be here.
Great, and we're happy to have you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Zinner. Any other questions or comments? Okay, motion by Councilmember Shenegas, second by Councilmember Robertson. This is for the appointment of Mr. Charles Place to the Planning Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The appointment of Mr. Place to the Planning Commission is approved by council 6-0 in the affirmative. Congratulations, Mr. Place. I have one favor to ask you. If you could please join me down in the well so I can swear you in. Well, congratulations. Thank you, Mayor. Chip, we found out a minute ago what brought you to Havre de Grace. So, want to tell everybody just real quick what got you into planning and zoning in your life? I know you have an extensive background.
Yeah, I always wanted to be an architect, but growing up, my father also called me a Philadelphia lawyer, which was not a term of endearment, by the way. And so I ended up going to architecture school at Rice University, and right after graduating, I ended up working on a lot of large-scale land planning. And I realized early on that it wasn't architects that necessarily decide what got built. It was people who make public policy of land use and developers. So I went to law school at night at the University of Houston to try to get more knowledge in that regard. And I've ended up doing large-scale land planning work throughout my career, and really enjoy it. It's really a great opportunity to help shape the human environment.
That's excellent. Well, like I say, it's in Havre de Grace, the Planning Commission could be a real sleeper commission, and sometimes, depending on what's on the docket, it can be generate a lot of excitement. And you know, there's no short list of people that want to be on the Planning Commission, but when I saw your resume and your experience, it was a no-brainer. And like I say, I really appreciate your willingness to serve. And the next decade in the city is going to be very important, the decisions we make with development. And so, like I say, it's an honor and privilege to have you here. I know you've been to a lot of council meetings lately, and just diving in with both feet and getting acclimated. So, you ready to take the oath, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Chip, if I could have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'm going to say the word I. Please say the word I and then your full name.
I, Charles Place,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
the requirements
the requirements
of the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I am about to assume,
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I'll be faithful
that I'll be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
support the Constitution,
and laws thereof,
the laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of
as a member of
Havre de Grace Planning Commission
the Havre de Grace Planning Commission,
to the best of my ability.
best of my ability.
Congratulations. So, one thing I have to do is get you to sign something. Sir, this is yours, and anyone who serves on our city commission, back to our city.
Looking forward to the flag.
Not only do you get a flag, but that ever fades you up. Okay. Flag proud. So maybe we have a picture real quick. Yeah, we'll bring you away.
Thank you. Mary, you're next to be on a commission, so let us know what you're interested in. Okay.
Okay, we're going to go to item number 9 this evening is recognitions. We have no recognitions this evening. Item 10, proclamations. We have no proclamations. Which lead us to item 11, presentations, and we do have a presentation for everybody this evening. I would like to invite Rabbi Mika Simmerly back to help us light the menorah, or work with me to light the menorah, and we have a great pleasure to be doing this evening because it's the first time, at least I know in the 15 years that I've been involved in the council, that we've had this opportunity. So it's a great pleasure to have you and honor to join you.
Some of you may wonder why it is that even though we have 8 candle spaces here, we only light 2 tonight. It is because every night we add 1 more candle to increase the joy, to increase the light around us. And so it is my true honor to invite you, Mayor, to light the menorah right here. In Hebrew, it's called Chanukiah. And as Mayor lights, I'm going to say a little prayer. It's going to be in both languages, in Hebrew as well as Adonai, bless you, God of all, Eloheinu melech haolam, God of all that lives, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, brought us together for the season, Metzivanu, and you blessed us, Lehadlik ner, to light these lights, Shel Chanukah of Chanukah. Mayor, that I'm going to follow with a song that we all sing for Hanukkah, and he does not have to stay here and sing along with me. But I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna put this here so I don't knock it with my guitar. And this is a song that many of our children sing at school as well. It is in English. We're not going to bother singing in Hebrew this evening, and it goes like this. Oh Hanukkah, Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all the gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Everyone to play with and lots to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night they shed, as we'd like to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed, as we'd like to remind us of days long ago. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Okay, we're going to move on to item 12, resolutions. And we have a charter resolution number 292 concerning annexation of 1633 Pulaski Highway. And for the introduction of this resolution, this is going to be the territory of the council president.
Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens all, I make a motion to introduce Charter Resolution Number 292 concerning annexation of 1633 Pulaski Highway for second reading and adoption.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce Charter Resolution number 292. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce County Resolution 292 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Madam Secretary, could you please read the header into the record?
A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11-E, and the provisions of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Local Government Articles, Subtitle 3, Amendment or Repeal of Charter, and Subtitle 4, Annexation, authorizing the legislative body of municipality to annex property extending the boundaries of the municipality by resolution to amend the city charter, specifically Appendix A of the Havre de Grace Charter by adding subsection A38, the second 2022 addition to the city boundaries, along with a legal description of the article, acres of land which will enlarge the boundaries of the city of Havre de Grace to include 1633 Pulaski Highway, known consisting of a total of 0.694 acres more or less.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary, for reading that into the record. Council, I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 292.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, second came from the council president. Questions or comments? Council President.
I'll make a comment. This is for small little parcel of land, 0.694 acres, more or less, along Route 40, I guess just south of where Revolution dumps out. It's right now it's an auto dealership. They want to be tied into the city water and they want to be annexed. So that's what we're voting on.
Okay, thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? All right, fair enough. Council, this is going to be Charter Resolution, so I'm going to do a roll call vote. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative. Charter Resolution 292 concerning annexation of 1633 Pulaski Highway is approved and adopted on second reading. Thank you very much, Council. We're going to go to item number 13, ordinances. Ordinance 1091 concerning amending City Code 70, dealing with fees. And this is also the jurisdiction of the Council President. Sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I make a motion to introduce ordinance number 1091 concerning amending City Code 70 fees for second reading.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President, second by Councilman Robertson. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1091 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1091 on second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Madam Secretary, can I call upon you one more time to read this header into the record?
Get it right this time. Okay, an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend City Code 70 fees by repealing and reenacting ordinance number 850, ordinance number 856, ordinance number 884, and ordinance number 986, to update the definitions and general schedule of fees charged by the city for various permits, licenses, and other services thereunder.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, I have a motion to adopt 1091 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Shenagus. This is a motion to adopt 1091 on second reading. Questions or comments? Council President?
So you notice I said second reading, but not second reading at adoption. We're going to have a few more public hearings on this. We're also going to have at least one work session, two if needed, and a public comment section And I believe, were those dates published yet? Okay, well, they will be published. We'll have that out to everybody. Already some changes we're working on, updating a couple things. But this has to do with the city fees we charge for a couple things here and there across the city. And also, there's some changes to the ordinance about the license agreements we have currently. So we're going to be working on that. We're going to have work sessions right here, and the dates will be going out.
Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Boyer,
No.
Councilmember Robertson,
Yes?
Council President Ringsager,
Yes.
Councilmember Shanegas,
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-1 in the affirmative, ordinance 1091 is approved on second reading. Thank you, Council. Item 14, old business. We got a couple items under old business. First one's going to be votes from City Council closed session meeting on December 5th, 2022. Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, on Monday, December 5th, we had a closed session, and this is our opportunity to record the votes that were taken. So under action taken, motion made by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Martin, to authorize the mayor to negotiate terms of contract to purchase up to the amount of the independent appraisal for property, and the motion carried 6-0. Secondly, action taken, motion made by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Zinner, to authorize the city attorney to enter ADR negotiations for the portions of the litigation involving nuisance claims only, and allow the remainder of the case to proceed to court decision. And that motion carried 6-0 as well.
Thank you, Council President. Item B, amendment to Resolution 2022-21 to extend the license agreement with Battery Island Brewery. Councilmember Shanegas.
Mayor, Council, I move to make an amendment to Resolution 2022-21 to extend the license agreement with Battery Island Brewery.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shanegas, second by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? Go ahead.
Battery Island would like to extend their license agreement for 1 week until January 7th, 2023 for their food truck that they have located. Their business is at 101 North Washington. However, the food truck is on Congress Avenue.
Okay. So extending their license to January 7th.
Yes, for 1 week.
Okay. Thank you. Council, questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Amendment to Resolution 2022-21, extending the license agreement with Battery Island Brewery to January 7th is approved by council, 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you. Item 15, new business. We have a couple special events, and we're going to start with the Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, before you this evening, you have 3 special events, the first being the New Year's Eve Duck Drop. This is a city and Havre and Susquehanna Hose Company sponsored event down at Concord Point. The hose company will be setting up at 8 p.m. on the 31st. The drop will, of course, occur at midnight. The normal setup down at the Concord Point is in your packet, as is the rest of the DPW and PD costs. I do want to call attention to the map on road closures. It shows an extension of a road closure on Alliance Street up to Young Street. That's not correct. It'll be at it'll be at Concord and Alliance as normal. That's a mistake by the submitter. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Council, I have a motion to approve the duck drop.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, second by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion to approve the New Year's Eve duck drop, December 31st this year, 2022, from 10 o'clock to 12:30 a.m. at Concord Point Park is approved by council, 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much. Sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Council, the second event is the Garden Mart, sponsored by the Havre Grace Maritime Museum. It will be on Saturday and Sunday, May the 20th and 21st. The time will be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The setup and tear down times are listed. This event occurs down at the Maritime Museum and with the lighthouse, involved with the lighthouse keeper's lawn, right across from 100 Lafayette. The map we noticed when it got printed out was not really too well to, wasn't really well to look at. There's two maps actually. The first one didn't hardly print out. The second one sort of did, but I do want to point out two things. One is it's the normal road closure that we've had for this event, and that being Lafayette Street closed down at Young Street. Last year when the Garden Mart was held, the road closure did not occur at Concord Street and Alliance, and we were getting cars that were dead-ending into Concord and Lafayette, and then would have to make a U-turn. This year, we'll do the road closure at Alliance and Concord, as usual, and then also at Lafayette and Young Street. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Council, to have a motion to approve Garden Mart.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Martin, second by Councilman Boyer.
You need to get hit in the head more. Yeah.
Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Garden Mart, May 20th and 21st, 2023, from 10 o'clock to 5 p.m. at the Maritime Museum and Keeper's House grounds. This event was approved by council 6-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatori.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the last event this evening, council, is the third annual Susquehanna Wine and Seafood Festival. The setup will begin on the 21st of September. The event is the 23rd of September from 11 to 8 p.m. There is a rain date the following day, which is a Sunday, the 24th. The breakdown will be completed at 5 p.m. the following day of the event. This is sponsored by the Seroptimus International, and the site contact person is Ms. Beth Leverick. And this will be similar to the event that we had this past year and the year before. We'll include food service, alcohol on scene. Ms. Leverick has put a nice detail of events set up. Also, the event site map, which seemed to work very well at the last event, including parking, and also your call sheet is at the end of the packet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatori. Council, I have a motion to approve the third annual Susquehanna Wine and Seafood Festival.
So moved.
Second?
I got a motion by the council president, second by Councilmember Schnegas. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Third annual Susquehanna Wine and Seafood Festival for December 23rd, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Concord Point Park is approved. 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, council. We're going to go to, and thank you, Mr. Gamatori. Sure. We're going to go to the director's reports, and we're going to start with the Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two items. One is last Wednesday, Mr. Rachinsky and myself presented our legislative request to our delegation up at Harford County. We did a recap of previous funding that we've gotten from the delegation through grant monies and so forth. And then also our primary ask at this moment is the two liquor bills that the council's aware of that we had spoke about, and the delegation seems to be very much in favor of that. The second item is I do have somewhat of an in with Santa Claus, I had a conversation with him today, and he wanted to let the mayor and council know that he saw more than 422 children at the Holly Jolly First Friday and the second two First Fridays. So it was a very good turnout. He did say that there was no naughty child that he saw. They were all very nice. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Campatoria. We're going to go to Director of Planning, Mr. Tim Boissier. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have much to say that I haven't already said. Planning is, in past meetings, planning just takes some time, so we're working on the comprehensive plan and some other things right now and just moving forward with a lot of items. I'm really excited about 2023. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in Havre de Grace, and I'm super happy to be a part of it. The only thing that I will mention is for about another month, we're still taking input on the comprehensive plan. For the visioning stage, there'll be public input opportunities, and the public's more than welcome to come to any of our public workshops that are on the second Monday of every month from now until we pass the comprehensive plan. But if you have time over the holidays and you're bored of watching parades or your crazy uncle's yelling about politics or something else, try to take the time to go to Envision HDG and leave your input on the different parts of the comprehensive plan. Again, that'll be open for about that part of the public input portion of the plan for the visioning, creating our vision for the next 20 years of Havre de Grace will be open for about another 30 days. So if you have the time and you have some things to say, we appreciate your input. That's it for me. Looking forward to 2023.
Same here. Thank you very much, Ms. Boissier. Appreciate the update. We're going to go with Mr. George Doherty, our Director of Finance. How are things looking?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, both here and at home. The general fund is sitting at just over $6.8 million, which is almost $550,000 ahead of budget. Most of that is due to spending being $450,000 below where we thought we'd be at this time, and revenues are slightly above budget by $100,000, leading us to that conclusion. The Water and Sewer Fund is sitting at just under $1.9 million, which is about $350,000 below. Virtually all of it is due to lower than expected revenues, both for connection fees and for the ARPA projects that are moving slowly. The spending is virtually right on budget. It's only a variance of $3,000, so it's virtually right where we expected it to be at this time. The Marina Fund is sitting at just under $1.1 million. It is sitting above budget by about $145,000. Of that amount, $90,000 of it is due to slowdowns in capital projects, which were all being affected by things like the supply chain, vendors, and I've said it almost every council meeting for the last 6 months, and it continues. And the other $50,000 is primarily due to better than expected fuel sales. So all the funds are performing pretty close to where we thought they'd be. There's no major exceptions, so the year seems to be running smoothly. I would like to echo Tim's sentiments and wish everybody a happy new year and certainly a great holiday season, no matter your denomination.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the update, Mr. Doherty. Thank you, sir. We're going to go to the Director of Public Works, Mr. E.J. Malizer. Good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Mayor. Council President, council members, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year if I don't see you. This is my last report of the year. Happy to report in the new year, the city will host several meetings with MDOT, Harford County, and traffic engineers, which will help us pinpoint some right-of-way issues, problematic intersections, hopefully execute some traffic studies, pedestrian crosswalks. We look forward to hosting these key figures and coming up with some resolutions to some city problems that we've had. As many citizens have noticed, there's a lot of road work going on around town. There's a valve replacement going on at Union Avenue. No road closure, just a lane shift. However, on Adams, there's a lane closure on Pennington and Adams. Lastly, in Green Street, there's a road shutdown that opens up between 3 to 5. There's contractors finishing up Tidewater Drive at the moment, and we look forward to finishing that up before Thursday or Friday storms. I'm currently going over a review of the fleet maintenance for the city with our fleet manager, Bay Wedig. We have vehicles we can turn in to try to get the highest value out of those vehicles. This is important because over the last Friday, we had 2 sewer vac trucks down, and they broke down. We didn't have the repair parts, so we reached out to our counterparts in Aberdeen, Mr. Kyle Torster, the DPW down there, and he helped us have an on-call with Mr. Josh Queensberry, who's the superintendent of the maintenance shop down there. So just want to give a grateful shout out to them for being on call this weekend. Next, just a friendly reminder that our DPW team will be winterizing the Hutchins Park bathroom this week, and it won't open up till April 1st. To conclude, I'd like to thank the entire DPW team for a great year. They've had outstanding work ethic. It's been a privilege to lead them. Their quick response to citizen complaints and proactive leadership has resulted in over 128 light poles being wrapped this year with lights and garland, approximately 3,650 promenade lights, feet of promenade lights, and over 847 work orders completed this year. DPW team, congrats and job well done. Thanks again, and again, I'd like to wish everyone a safe, healthy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for my last report. Thank you. I'd like to open up for any questions.
Any questions for EJ? Yes.
Did you guys put the tree out in the middle of the water?
Yes.
How did you, is that,
We have the luck of Santa Claus on our side.
okay, like, how is it connected? Is it electrical or is it solar?
It's a Christmas miracle. That's what the chief says.
Notice that.
Yeah. There's a lot more ducks around there, too. I will note that, too. Than there were before, too. I don't know whether they really like the tree out there or something.
I think the
but
shoreline's doing its job,
There's a lot of ducks out there
hopefully.
right now.
Thank you for letting me know they're in season.
Any other questions? Councilmember Zinner?
Yes, hi. So when we met this week, we talked a little bit about needing additional employees. There's a shortage in the department, plus she gave up one to the chief here.
PD keeps taking the good ones.
Yeah, I have to replace that one. So,
Got a great recruiting plan.
how is Mr. Ritchie helping you recruit or fill some of those positions that we have with winter coming especially?
There's a few job requirements. To your point, we met for the DPW committee meeting and talked about a few different projects that we go through and some hiring issues we're having. There's a few job opportunities out there. We're looking for a water treatment plant operator and a driver laborer at the moment for our department. Those jobs are available online, and we're always looking to fill those positions. So they can find those just by Googling it or going on the city website under employment tab.
Who puts them online?
So the administration takes care of all the hiring and also the job recruitment. So there's several areas that Mr. Ritchie goes out to looking for employees in addition to just posting them on the website. So in the DPW, and particularly EJ's group and then also the chief's group, it's been very difficult recruiting. And there's some significant requirements, obviously, with the police department that we don't drop our standards. And then within the DPW group, you must be able to maintain a DOT license, which is is a regulatory requirement. And also, I think it thins out the herd somewhat of those that wish to apply.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for EJ? Okay, thank you very much. And echo your comments about your crew. They've done a heck of a job this year. And but more importantly, Mr. Maliza, we're glad to have you on the team. So
Appreciate it.
hope you have a good
We've had a
Christmas,
great
too.
time so far. It's been a good 5.5, 6 months. I appreciate everyone.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to express my condolence to Sheriff William Kunkel. Sheriff Kunkel was the longest-serving sheriff in Harford County. He served for 18 years. But he was also a deputy before he was sheriff. He was an amazing man. He really did a lot to move the sheriff's office, to make them more modern, more progressive, that type of thing. I attended his funeral today. Very good turnout, which speaks volumes about the sheriff and his integrity and his strong work ethic. So I know it's the holiday season and it's difficult to lose anybody at any time of the year, but this time of the year I know it's extremely difficult. It truly, truly is. So I do want to, again, express my condolences to his family. Now, I don't know this for sure, but it's my understanding that we might have some wintry mix by Thursday or Friday. So I just want to remind folks, if we do have that precipitation, please, if you don't have to drive, I know people might be doing some last-minute Christmas shopping, but please be very, very careful on the roads trying to navigate them. If you don't have to drive, please stay home and enjoy your political conversation with your Uncle Eddie or whoever you mentioned. But no, just please, just be very, very careful driving, especially during this holiday season. And I do want to wish everybody a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, and a Merry Christmas. That will be it, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate the comments. And well, that takes us to item 17, comments from the mayor. A couple things here, items of interest. I'm going to start off by telling everybody that if you love coming to council meetings and you enjoy watching us on TV, please be mindful and take due notice that both council meetings in the month of January will be on a Tuesday night. That's because we meet on the first and third Mondays, but the first and third Mondays in January are federal holidays. You got New Year's and you got Dr. Martin Luther King's federal holiday observance. So, therefore, the council meetings will be on the next night, which is Tuesday night. It'll be Tuesday, January 3rd, and Tuesday, January 17th. That's my birthday, so I just realized that. All right, anyway. Who wrote that change in law anyway? Long time ago. Anyway, okay, thank you. Pickleballers, all my friends who play pickleball, including the pickleball mafia never mind. We love pickleball in the city of Havre, Grace. We really, really do. And we're sorry we only have one pickleball court, but however, we now have an indoor pickleball court at the back gym of Havre Grace High School. And pretty soon, when I say soon, it could be a matter of weeks, there will be a nice brand new outdoor pickleball court at the Havre Grace Community Center up behind Meadowvale Elementary School. Anyway, the macadam was poured recently, basically the blacktop and the striping, and now we're going to work on putting a fence around it. So it's actually a really nice spot. You know, I mean, downtown, right on the water where Tidings Park is a beautiful spot. But if you're really into pickleball and you just want to get some games going, there'll be 4 courts there. I mean, it's great. It's going to be brand new. It's going to be well maintained. There'll be plenty of parking. And so as soon as that's up and running, let the games begin. And we will still try to endeavor to find other areas we could put some small pickleball courts, because we know a lot of our citizens play pickleball. It's become a very popular sport. Affectionately termed the word pickleball mafia only because, everywhere I go, I run into friends and they always talk about pickleball courts. So we're working on it. So we got these pickleball courts coming online very, very soon at the community center. Trolley report. So the trolleys this past Friday was the last weekend for the downtown all-electric trolleys. And we're going to have to put them in storage for various reasons. One, we don't get a whole lot of travelers when it's 10 degrees outside on an open trolley. 2, the electric batteries are really affected by the ultra cold. So they lose about 30% of their running time. So we're going to put them away and we'll bring them back out in the spring. But I do have some numbers. So the trolley program started its maiden voyage on May 28th of this year. And this past Saturday, December 17th, was the last trip. And so total passengers that have ridden on the Havre de Grace trolley, 17,505. Total miles, 12,264. Days of operation, 86 days. Total hours of operation, 972. And knock on wood, there were no incidents. And I want to remind everybody, not 1 ounce of fossil fuel was burned to transport those folks around our city for that operation for 12,264 miles. So, and since the city buildings are running on solar power, those trolleys are charged from solar power, which is kind of cool when you think about that. So anyway, so we were very proud of our trolley program. I want to thank Mr. Gamatoria, Mr. Seipolk, Mr. Ritchie, and all the trolley drivers. We are definitely, and we're definitely pioneers. Now I realize there's other cities that have trolleys. I mean, this isn't rocket science. However, we were pioneers in the fact that we had to get the legislation changed to allow these vehicles on Maryland roads. That took several years. And once we had it implemented, we had to come up with a route. We had to come up with standard operating procedures. I want to thank Fred Wills also. Fred Wills, a good man, good citizen of Havre Grace, who I kind of pressed into service for a few months to write the standard operating procedures for the trolley drivers. So although it looks simple and fun, you know, whenever the government gets involved in a program and, you know, you have people's safety involved and things like that, you really got to, you know, do your due diligence. So the trolley program took a lot of people behind the scenes to implement. We're looking to purchase a couple more trolleys just to keep the program up and running smoother in case, you know, any of the trolleys have any mechanical issues. So, and we kept the program free this year. We didn't, at the end of the day, we didn't charge. It's electric. Yeah, and so we found it to be, and when I asked the trolley drivers, of all the people that rode on the trolleys, you know, how many people do you think lived in Havre Grace? And without skipping a beat, they all say about half the people. So our own citizens are hopping on a trolley just to see their beautiful town, or to, you know, just to take, you know, grab some ice cream cone at Bon Boys or something and just take a loop around town. So again, we thought it was great. We love the program, and we're going to miss the trolleys, but they'll be back in a couple months. So, also of importance, we have had our annual Christmas decoration contest, and we always like to start with the third place house. So every year, citizens who really are into decorating their house can contact Lori Orzowitz at the Havre Grace Tourism Center. We put your name on a list, and we have a whole panel of judges. The judges are from all walks of life, all different backgrounds. And so the judges' results are in, and so we'll give the top 3. And so third place goes to Barry and Brenda Hewitt, 208 Ringneck Court. Barry and Brenda Hewitt, 208 Ringneck Court. Congratulations. Second place. Sorry. Again, I know these two. These two are very competitive people. This time it flip-flop. I'm like, whoops. Second place, 131 Joe Hill Drive, Richard and Tina Ashmum. 131 Joe Hill Drive. That was a tough one. And the first place, there it is, is 108 Joe Hill Drive. 108 Joe Hill Drive, Darren Samuels and Michelle Hoffman is first place. So if you want to see some serious Christmas lights, I would recommend going to Joe Hill Drive up there in Grace Manor. So congratulations to the Hoffmans, Ashmans, and the Hewitts. Thank you very much for participating. We had a lot of entrants this year. If you want a list of all the people who participated, you can always email Lori Orzowitz if you just want to drive around and see the lights, the people. They're very great. So we will be contacting these folks in case they're not watching the council meeting to have them come in and pick up their prizes. They'll be receiving some gift cards for participating and making our town look beautiful. Congratulations. And one final thing I'd like to mention. Years ago, when I was on the council, I'd always end my comments with a history story. Although, to spare people the history stories, I haven't done it much lately. You know, with Christmas coming up, if anybody's friends with me on Facebook, I don't really do much on Facebook, but I always change my cover photo on Christmas Day to the picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware River. If you all know the Battle of Trenton, it was a do-or-die situation. The Hessians had about 10,000 soldiers across the river, and Washington had about 1,800 men, about a dozen cannons left, and all the enlistments of all his men were going to expire at the end of the month of December. And he did an all-in move by crossing the Delaware River on Christmas night, and he attacked the Hessians. Everybody thinks that he attacked them in their sleep, but he actually didn't. They got there late. They didn't make it to Trenton until about 8 o'clock. But luckily, they were able to silence the guardhouse, and they still moved in on the positions rather as a surprise attack. But we won the battle, and a week later he turned his attention around and went to Princeton. And he defeated the British garrison at Princeton. So within 1 week, he got all their chests of gold, their cannons, their munitions, their horses, trunnions, everything that you need. And he was able to convince his men not to turn in their enlistments and to stick around. And that was a turning point in the war. But there was another thing that makes me think about George Washington 7 years later. And it's another Christmas story. And it involves Maryland. And it's the story of, we won the Battle of Yorktown against General Cornwallis in October of '81. But what a lot of people don't know is Washington had to keep his army in the field for 2 more years, because it took 2 more years to get the Treaty of Paris signed. And Cornwallis's army in Yorktown wasn't the only army over in the colonies. I mean, you had another one up in New York City. New York City was occupied the entire war. And we didn't know what that army was going to do, so Washington had to go up to Newburgh and keep his army there for 2 more years, but there was no more battles. But when the Treaty of Paris was signed and the United States got its independence, Washington went right to Congress, which was in Annapolis, Maryland. And he walked into the State House, which is the one we have today, the oldest state house in the country. And he did one of the most miraculous things that have ever been seen on the face of the earth. He pulled out his sword and put it on the table, and he surrendered his commission to Congress. And he says, "This is your country now, and I'm going home to farm." And that was December 23rd, 1783. And Mount Vernon's about 80 miles, well, from Annapolis, Mount Vernon's about a day and a half horse ride. And so, as the story goes, Martha did not know that her husband was coming home on Christmas Eve. And if you've ever been to Mount Vernon, you can picture that long expanse in front of the mansion, that she's probably like out there or looking through the window, and a man's come up on a horse, and that's her husband, the general. He went off to war for 8 years, and now he's home. He brought independence for his country, and he did his job, and he wants to farm. But there was one more thing he had left to do, which was he was called upon to be our first president. And what makes me think about the Christmas time so much is Washington was a man of faith, and several big turns in American history took place around this time of year for him. And I often think about Washington this time of year and him being the first president of the United States. And every single thing he did set a precedent. Imagine being an elementary school or middle school teacher and teaching the words, the difference between president and precedent. You have to write it on the board 5 times. They sound alike, kids, but they mean different things. But he set a lot of precedents. But what I try to teach my kids is that everyone in Europe thought we would fail, because the tried and true method of government was monarchy. The greatest minds in the world. I mean, you got to remember, in 1787, we had navigation, we had ships, we had understanding of the stars, we could make things out of metal. I mean, we were pretty advanced in 1787, but we still believe the greatest form of government was rooted with and anchored in a monarchy, because it's tried and true. I mean, even England had a constitutional monarchy, but you had to have that one dude forever that you could trust. And they believed in the king. God save the king, long live the king. France is the same way. So Washington knew that the world would look at us very closely, and they all thought we would fail. And if we did fail, then every king would be like, "See, told you so." This cute little experiment of people electing their little leaders, and they'd go away when they lose their election. Not one country in the world thought that could happen. And Washington proved that it could, and we all know he served 2 terms, and he stepped down, and John Adams took over, and then Thomas Jefferson, and every time government would change hands, we did it peacefully. I mean, we learned what newspapers were pretty quick, because the newspapers got pretty involved in some of those elections. But what I always think about and I teach my students, you have to realize, today we live in a world where there's democracy everywhere. There's democracy in Canada, there's democracy in England and France and Germany, and we're used to the concept of self-rule. But in 1789, when George Washington became president, that was the most craziest experiment in the world, that people could govern themselves, and we were nowhere even near refined as European countries. I mean, European countries had, buildings, cathedrals that were magnificent. They had art and, classical literature and classical music, and they were so refined, and we were still making houses out of logs. I mean, we had dirt roads. We were the most rustic people in the world, and here we are 240-some years later, still a democracy. And I say that always around Christmas time, because I think about the trials and tribulations of the people who came before us. And, you always see things on TV, and it's just getting very polarized lately, politics, when you watch the news. And sometimes you got to stop and think about what it really means to be an American, and how we treat each other, and how we conduct ourselves in public, and the things we say to people. And that at the end of the day, the only reason democracy works is because of us. That's it. So with that said, I want to thank all my friends and citizens who give me the honor and privilege of serving in the city of Havre de Grace. There's no other place on earth I would rather live and raise my family. I think Havre de Grace is the greatest example of what it means to be an American. We're a great community. We're great people. The chief will tell you, whenever there's a big crime's committed, I'll say, are they from Havre de Grace? Because I don't believe bad people are Havre de Grace. There's people that visit us that do bad things like stab people and stuff like that. But, I mean, and I'll ask her every time, because I believe we're a good people, and we're a good community, and there's something about Havre de Grace. And so with that said, God bless our country, God bless my neighbors, God bless every man and woman right now who is overseas and can't be with their family because they're serving this country so that we can enjoy our freedoms for Christmas. Thank you very much, everyone, for indulging me in my history lesson tonight. It's been a while. So with that said, I'll move on to council comments. And it's my pleasure to introduce everybody to Councilmember Shenegas.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, citizens in the audience, and citizens at home. It is my pleasure to be a citizen of Havre de Grace. I am so happy to live here. It was a great decision 5 years ago. I was encouraged by my daughter. She was attending Hopkins University, and she said, "Mom, I found this great little town, and I would like you to move out here, and we could get a place together." I checked it out. I came to visit. My heart was in. And I started seeing the community evolve in the summertime, and the politicians were coming out in the fall, and all the events were taking place, and I saw the community just grow. And I started getting involved and getting to know people, started volunteering, and I really started being more actively involved in watching the children and their families and the business people, etc., just reach out and be a community. And I just love how it's evolved to where it is right now with the holidays. It's bustling, it's quaint, it's busy, it's quiet, and it's for tourists and it's for our community. I love how First Fridays brought many, many people to our tree lighting and our parade, and how we just all connected. We had a lot of people here, and it was peaceful and joyful. And I love how our Holly Jolly Fridays have tiered off into the whole season. And it's more quaint and quiet for our community. Our businesses are staying open a little later so we can do more shopping and have more time to connect. And I just feel like this is the place to be, whether you want to share it with family, friends, meet new people. I'm just thankful to be a part of this community. I thank our public service agencies, all of them that help us, keep us safe. I thank our Public Works Department for doing so much behind the scenes. It just happens. It's like Santa's magic, Christmas magic, or holiday magic. It just happens, and it just, in a blink of an eye, you see these things take place. It's like, wow. I live here, and it's beautiful. And I have just had an opportunity to meet so many wonderful people. I am thankful for the council that I work with. Thank you for allowing me to embrace being a part of leadership here and teaching me along the way. And I just want to say thank you to the citizens for believing in me. And I look forward to working with you in 2023. Happy holidays to all.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenanigans. Comments from Councilmember Martin. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, the citizens in the audience and at home, and all the staff. I want to first start off with continued thoughts and prayers for our first responders in DPW. My last assignment with the Maryland State Police was in Calvert County. So again, I knew Mike Evans, who's the sheriff for Calvert County, and yesterday one of his deputies in the performance of his duty was shot. So again, just thoughts he's recovering, but thoughts and prayers for all our first responders and our DPW for going out there and doing the jobs when it has to be done, but continued prayers for the deputy from Calvert County. A special thanks again, EJ. The Eagle Project is moving forward. We had our first meeting, so we're moving forward on the Eagle Project. The Celtic Festival is January 13th, 14th, and 15th. You can look for it at Burns Gathering, htdburnsgathering.org. It's going to be a great event. We have Celtic Games. There's going to be 40-plus vendors. We have food there, and it's Friday from 6 to 10, and then it's going to be Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 6. So come on out. You're going to be able to see downtown, visit the vendors, but we're closing at 6 o'clock, so you can have the time to go visit the vendors in Havre de Grace and have a nice meal. Remember to keep those in our service to the country, those that can't be home during this time. We celebrate, but other people give us the right to do it, and they fight for our freedom, and they're there and we're here, but we need to keep them in our prayers. And finally, a comment. We've been hearing a lot of complaints and a lot of issues about District F. And the one comment I want to make is the city of Havre de Grace has a charter that we live by. And sometimes the people don't agree with, and we make these charter changes. Sometimes we have to go to court to have a decision rendered by a judge because there are separate opinions, and we're trying to clean up our charter. I want to tell everybody to have patience. Understand that we fight home rule to keep home rule. So when someone tries to tell us what we need to do as a municipality, we're fighting to make sure that we have the ability to say, this is our community. The same thing is happening right now in Harford County. There's a charter disagreement, but it's Harford County's charter disagreement. They're moving forward in the correct fashion by doing it through the legal counsel. So pray for them, pray for quick guidance that we can move forward, because our representatives are here. We are here to represent you, and we will approach and talk to people as need be. But again, we cannot interfere with the way the county does its business, just like the county and the state can't interfere with the way Havre de Grace operates on our charter. So with that, prayers to everyone who's making these decisions so that we can move forward. With that, Mr. Mayor, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a great New Year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. We have been going to the Holly Jolly First Friday extended version for the past couple of weekends, and I posted online that we live in such a hallmark town. It's unbelievable. It's been wonderful every step of the way. It's great to see how all the businesses have kind of coalesced together to create this sense downtown, and then to see everybody within our community come out and just even in the cold, want to be with each other and celebrate the holiday season. It's just been wonderful, and I'm wish that we'll take advantage of this more. Just being able to get out and see each other has been wonderful. The Lock House tour was absolutely amazing. If you didn't get a chance to participate in it, you really missed some amazing homes within our community. And thank you to everyone who opened up your house, especially people who just moved to our community. And, you know, getting a knock on the door by Julie Runke, hey, can we have the whole community come through your house? And they do it. It was a sellout again this year. They sold out their first 500 tickets, printed in another 100, so 600 people participated in the tour this year. They raised a little bit over $15,000 for the Lock House, and that is money well spent. It's money spent or money received to preserve a very important part of our history, which is the Lock House. I also had the opportunity to go on the trolley, and I need to tell you this little. I got on the trolley, and there was this family. The father just moved here. Actually, the whole family just moved here, technically. But he just got out of service with the Army. His family had toured around to many communities, and the one place that they all agreed that they loved because of the sense of community as soon as they came here, and this is important to say for a military family, was here in Havre Grace. The kids and the parents all said that they wanted to come back to Havre Grace because of all the communities that they lived. This is where they felt the most comfortable. So he just retired and came back to be with his family. And his son, who's in elementary school, had been bugging them, like, I want to ride on the trolley, I want to ride on the trolley. So they all came down and rode on the trolley on Saturday. And it was so much fun riding with him and listening to the things that he was pointing out, things that he thought was fun. He loved the park. That was a big thing. And he was pointing out, believe it or not, a lot of the houses along the way, asking the history about each of the houses. So again, it's somebody from within our community, and the kids are absolutely loving the experience and bringing everybody, and again, in the community together to talk. It was a lot of fun. So I am just going to end it with, I look forward to seeing everybody at the Duck Drop on New Year's Eve to celebrate 2023. Take care, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Boyd, appreciate your comments. I'm going to go to Councilmember Zinner. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens at home. I don't really have too much to report on, and that's a hard act to follow, so I'm not going to even try. So, because I haven't been out much this past week, but I did appreciate going to the commissioners' event that the mayor throws for our volunteers each year, and it was nice to touch base with them and reconnect with some old friends. And then the next night was the 50th anniversary of the Lock House, and they threw a very nice gala. People got dressed up. We weren't as casual as we normally are, so that was kind of a treat in a way. Did not have the opportunity to go to on the tour, but I'll take Councilmember Boyer's word for it, how nice it was. I did go the year before. I drove around with my husband in the car so we could see the houses. We couldn't get inside, but at least we could to see the houses. So at any rate, that's pretty much my report for now. But I do want to wish everyone a very healthy and safe holiday, and drive carefully. They're calling for not so great weather this weekend, and then also New Year's Eve when you might have too much revelry. So just be careful and take care of yourselves and have a blessed holiday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Good evening, Mr. Councilmember Robertson.
Mr. Councilmember. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. A couple quick things. First and foremost, just a reminder, no Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow. No Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow. If you show up, you can probably have a nice conversation with George, but no Budget and Finance meeting tomorrow. No Youth Commission meeting this month. However, there will be Economic Development Advisory Board meeting on Wednesday, but I believe that that's closed to just the members themselves. And also, lastly, I just want to give a big thank you to the mayor, to the chief, who presented wreaths this past Saturday during Wreaths Across America, and to my fellow council members who were able to attend and help out and volunteer, especially Tammy. She sang the Star Spangled Banner, so that was a treat. And, the citizens in general for your support for that event. It's something that's been growing over the past 4 or 5 years that we've been doing it now. So it's a good way to kind of just keep the names and memories of individuals that have served our country that are no longer with us in our minds and on the tip of our tongue. But I hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday season. I think that we're trying to beat the candles as they're burning out here. So with that, that'll be it.
Thank you, Councilman Robertson. Business from the council president.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and council. Everybody said so many nice things tonight. I always get stuck last, so I've got to think about what I've got to say. If you follow on Facebook anything about Havre, people keep on asking, what was that boom? And it's almost always the quarry or it's out on APG. But right now, it's duck season and goose season. So you're going to be hearing shooting out there in the flats in the mornings. Don't get alarmed. It'll be out 2 weeks, and then they have like a week break, and then 2 more weeks of that. So you might see me out there if you go looking. And I want to thank the Friends of the Lighthouse for the invite for their Christmas party. Went to that, and they had a soup dinner, which I'm a soup guy. I love soup. And also, I really enjoyed helping the mayor out. He's very humble about this, but for as long as I've known him, I've always helped him volunteer with the candlelight tour to place the luminaries and to pick them up. It used to be back in the day, we'd sit there in your driveway and we'd shovel sand all morning. Now they do it down at the Masonic Lodge. But that's one of my highlights of the year, and my son loves it too. He loves running up and down Union Avenue and stomping on the bags, and we throw them in the back of the truck. We had a really good time doing that, so I look forward to that every year. And I really don't have much else. Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. And now I make a motion to go into closed session upon adjournment of the open session on Monday, December 19th, 2022, to consider the following matter. Number 1, employment contract for the chief of police. Number 2, acquisition of real property for public purpose. And number 3, consult with the city attorney regarding pending litigation. This meeting will be closed under General Provisions, Article Section 305B1 and B3, and I believe B7 and B8 should be added. B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more individuals. B3, to consider the acquisition of real property for the public purpose and matters directly related thereto. B7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. B8, to consult with staff, consultants, and other individuals about pending or potential litigation. The reasons for closing the meeting is, B1, the discussion concerning specific employee performance are entitled to confidentiality. B3, deliberations for acquisition of real property in the confidential setting is the city's and public's best interests and are permitted under the Open Meetings Act. B7 and 8, consultation with the city attorney regarding advice and updates about pending litigation are entitled to confidentiality under the attorney-client privilege. The City Council will not resume open session after the closed session, and votes will be recorded in the public at the council meeting on January 3rd, 2023, and that is my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, second by Councilman Martin. Motion to go into closed session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to go into closed session at the adjournment of this meeting carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Before I call for the motion to adjourn, there's one other item of business I wanted to read into the record. This is a letter of support on a position that the council took a vote on back on November 7th, 2022. As required by Ordinance 1082, Legislative Priorities and Positions, City Code Chapter 1, Article 4, Section 18D. A copy of the letter sent to Honorable Paul Majeski II, Chair of the Board of License Commissioners for Harford County as it relates to the sale of beer and wine at performing arts establishments under certain conditions. City supports the proposed BW2 2023 performing arts performing arts license, and supports the proposed BW 2023 arts and entertainment license. Basically, it would be to allow the sale of alcohol at places like the Star Center and things like that without having to have a nonprofit sign off for you. So anyway, I just wanted to read it to record that the city supports those positions. Council, I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Martin, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Motion to adjourn carries 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is 8:29. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless and happy holidays. We'll see you next year. Thank you.